I'm recording it.
What you want to do to get loose, man? You want to get swifty? Yeah. You want to get swifty?
It's time to get swifty.
We're talking about Captain America Civil War. First thing I wanted to ask, did you have a side that you picked before going into the movie?
Great question. Actually, I did. And it wasn't Iron Man. It wasn't Captain America. It literally was Team Spidey. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. I seriously am.
Yeah, but thinking about, the whole Civil War between these two, because they're the two main guys that head to head.
Here's my thing.
I know Spider-Man was an exciting thing.
Let's take apart who the actual characters were, and let's just say the actual treaty and everything.
I have something to say about Iron Man too.
Do I feel like they should have just signed that treaty? Yes, it kind of sucks that like they're trying to police them, but at the same token, if you are already like obliging yourself to help people, why would it matter if you're letting somebody sort of dictate? Because I mean, you're your own person at the end of the day.
Yeah, but what I like about it is they made it more real. They made it like casualties of a job.
It was kind of odd. I mean, people who follow the comic books, you will understand that like the roles were swapped. It definitely was supposed to be Captain America,
but I liked it. I like the fact that they kind of swapped personalities. And it was supposed to be Iron Man, who was the rebel. And I mean, when you think about it, that makes more sense. But I liked it how they went. I liked it the plot that they chose. I mean, compared to a lot of the X-Men movies, the Avengers that came out. I mean, let's be honest. The first Avengers was amazing, but after a while, I just started to feel like they were just dragging that story out between them and Captain America and Thor. But they really came and delivered on this one. Yeah, they did. I think it really was the best superhero movie ever because it had everything. It had really good drama.
It brought
and
you
what I wanted to talk
characters.
about with Tony Stark was the first time he did that little simulation scene. And there was going to be spoilers so anybody that had that don't want to see spoilers, this is your time to get the fuck out.
Well, you should have got the fuck out.
You should have got the fuck out a long time ago. So
you should have already known.
We're gonna go into the huge spoilers.
Almost a week after the movie, out. You should already known that we're gonna come in here.
We're gonna talk about some huge spoilers in a little bit because there is a huge twist in this with Tony Stark and the Winter Soldier. But I think we'll talk about like stuff leading up to that first because Tony Stark had this little thing going on with his parents in the beginning that I thought was really amazing because Tony Stark is known to be this asshole and we know why now.
Well, here's the thing. That opened your eyes to the view of how Tony Stark came to be somewhat.
And how he feels from the inside out.
The personality he has. And you really never understood that watching all the Iron Mans. I mean, you never had to because Iron Man was just great on its own. But just saying, like, from all...
They had little inklings, though. Iron Man 2, with the whole shield and his father making the shield and all that.
I feel like in order for the ending to be as climactic, it had to...
Had to have a build-up?
It had to have a build-up.
It's been building up over all those movies, too, though, you know?
It has, but when
you go to the backstory of Captain America when it's the Red Skull and Tony Stark's father's working. Did he have any involvement with Captain America as far as, like, making him the super soldier, or was it just the shield and the weapon that made Captain America...
That's a good question.
Because there is a combination between,
I want to say that he was working under the organization that came up with the serum to make Captain America.
Right.
So it wasn't so much that it was him, as opposed to, and I could be wrong. I think
probably a couple
it's
of
a
people
possibility
working
that
on
it could have
project.
been him, but
yeah,
I do believe that it was just that he was working for that organization. But at the same token, it could have been him. I'm not 100% sure on that.
So then, as far as like it goes to where the Winter Soldier Bucky was, going out and doing all this crazy shit, even though he was having these blackouts.
Well, that was because of Red Skull.
How he was hypnotized by Red Skull, or conditioned to, we could say indoctrinated to be this just killer.
It's like he becomes a Meeseeks.
He just
he
just has to accomplish the goal that was given to
him. Exactly. That's a good analogy though.
You know,
we love us some Rick and Morty here at Big Boy Reviews too, man.
We love some Rick and Morty. You know,
we should talk about that one day, but
we will
stay on topic.
We'll definitely go on a review of Rick and Morty. That was actually thought about.
Let's not fall off the topic.
It is a great show if you've never checked it out.
So let's talk about the Scarlet Witch though, because we were talking about this before.
Okay.
And how Loki was the one that made her pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, it was because with Loki's staff, he created Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, which was her brother.
Yeah.
In the Age of Ultron, of course, you learn Quicksilver died in that movie.
So Quicksilver is like Marvel's version of the Flash, pretty much.
Yeah, he was. He definitely was.
Okay.
And he didn't really get much acclaim, but he could have. He could have been like as huge as the Flash, but he didn't get much acclaim though. I mean, he was with the X-Men for a long while in the comics, but he kind of like fell off once they started doing animations and the cartoons and with the movies, they killed him off in like the first fucking movie. They didn't even give him an opportunity. So,
so the thing with her and Vision though, with the Scarlet Witch, Vision had a real story arc.
I just have to say something though. Here's something that kind of like got me odd, and we're gonna go watch the movie again. I'm hoping to get a little better answer to this, but Vision has no emotion towards anybody.
Until he meets her.
But yet he started having emotions towards Scarlet Witch. And I mean, hey, just to throw it out there, Vision, he deserves his own movie. He might not get it, but he deserves his own movie.
Yeah, I mean, he was a real developed character, a well-developed character, and I thought he was. I mean, even though you don't see him you see him enough. I mean, you really feel for this thing, even though he's just like this android or like a, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he's starting to become.
He was cool. And
humane.
Yeah, and I definitely would like to see more of his backstory, more of like, because I don't know much about Vision. I know who he is, but I don't know much about him.
So another person that popped up was Black Panther, though.
I was about to follow that topic. How do you feel about Black Panther?
I feel like he was a badass mother that just like came out of the woodwork, and I didn't expect it. I didn't want to see too many trailers or nothing before I watched this shit.
Let me tell you, I'm not much of a bandwagon, but I jumped on that bandwagon. I'm ready.
But I do have to say, when I first seen him pop out those claws, I thought of Catwoman. I have to be honest though. I almost thought he was gonna go.
He seemed a bit too masculine to be Catwoman.
Yeah, he was masculine as fuck, but I mean, it was just like I thought of like Batman Returns when she had those claws.
I don't know. When I saw them claws pop out, I thought, okay, someone's about to get fucked up.
But when he was chasing, yeah, for real. But
I didn't think of Catwoman.
I don't.
DC didn't fall into mine anywhere. DC didn't fall into mine.
It's not DC. It's just Catwoman. It wasn't like But the whole thing is when he was chasing the Winter Soldier down that shit, down that street, and all the cops were chasing him. That motorcycle scene.
I have to say, that scene was probably if it wasn't for the motorcycle part. That scene was one scene that was starting that I would have said was kind of
starting to get lame a little bit. It was like a regular
just because
movie
the way that they were running through the cars, past the cars, it just looked cheesy to me.
You know what it reminded me of since it had the bridge? Dark Knight.
It only happened for maybe 30 seconds. So it's not like it was a whole entire scene.
Let me tell you though, there was a couple of movies that
segues.
Like when he was busting out of the hallway when the cops were coming in, that reminded me of Sin City with Marv. Okay? Busting out of the freaking thing, jumping over the balconies and the stairs and all that shit.
All that stuff was cool.
Yeah.
It's just, for me, when they were running with
Captain America throwing people around and all that.
That was
awesome.
A little too much. I was like,
all these little cops
I'm like, wait a minute. I know Cap can't be that fast.
But he went way the fuck out of his character to save his boy, though. You know what I'm saying? He went and he was doing shit that was way out of his. I mean, I understand. He goes way back with his. This is his best friend since day one.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I don't think no one understands that. It's one thing when you made new friends and these friends have been around for a long time. It's another thing when you have a straight childhood friend. Like
it's just like if you went rogue, man, I would have to fucking do some Captain America shit. You know what I'm saying? That's some bestie type shit.
Yes, there's
some
a bond
biffle type shit.
It's like before I became a superhero, this was my nigga. Yeah. This was my dog.
He was me before I wasn't shit.
This was the man defending me and taking care of me and looking out for me and like basically being like my brother.
Because he was a scrawny little bastard and this guy pretty much protected him the whole time. So.
And that's if you guys didn't see the first Captain America, which if
you didn't, go see that shit right now. Turn the shit off.
You shouldn't be watching this. You should be watching that first. You shouldn't even see Civil War. You should have went and saw that first. Anyway, we're gonna.
But I was gonna say that I was Team Iron Man though. Like just before I was going in. But then after we started watching the movie, you're not pro anybody. You're just like, what the fuck is this? Is a clusterfuck. I love every second of this
here's
shit
going
right
back
now.
to that. Yeah, I was Team Spidey, and honestly, I'm gonna be real.
When he went to Brooklyn, man.
No matter what team Spider-Man was gonna be on, I was gonna be that team. But going back to what I was saying, had I chose like between Cap and Iron Man, I would have to pick Iron Man. But it's because, like I was saying. It's because of what Iron Man stood for. He was like, sign the treaty. Let's not break up Avengers.
Let's just be cool and
which if
fucking
Captain
please
America
our bosses, pretty much.
was the one who was in that position and Iron Man was being a rogue, I would have picked Team Captain America. Because I feel like I said, if you're already a superhero, why should it bother you? First off, you're your own person and you have superpowers. You can choose to not do something you don't want to do. So it's
I thought it was weird that he was being stubborn about that shit
I thought
too.
It was really
I understand the fact that you're trying to save your friend, but when you're trying to go against the grain so hard that you're just not like trying to appease the freaking army or the military, the government.
I just don't see why he couldn't just sign the treaty and still go save his friend.
He could have did that shit, but I mean,
avoid being a rogue and just go and save your friend. You can still save your friend.
But the whole thing was he was saving his friend at the expense of just busting shit up though. You know what I'm saying?
I understand.
He was busting the shit out of the whole entire goddamn town.
At the same time, it's like if you, I feel what you're saying though. Like you can't. Then again, you can't sign the treaty and then go and say, "Hey, fuck
no, you sign that shit and it's like you totally just go against the fucking shit. It's like
Yeah, but I mean,
you deliberately disobeyed me.
No, but I mean,
you put Nala in danger.
Oh my god!
Even fucking Ant-Man was like a surprise motherfucking like boom in your face type shit.
Okay, well, speaking of Ant-Man, I mean, and if you didn't see that movie, that's a good movie.
I gotta see that one too. I gotta admit, I didn't watch that.
That's a good movie. I'm not gonna sit here and say, hey, it's a Deadpool and it's the Civil War. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say it's the greatest, but it is better than I thought. It was better than what I expected too. It was like I know Paul Rudd, for the type of character that he is.
He's just a funny guy, so
he fit the role perfectly. Which I didn't know he was going to do that because I wasn't expecting Ant-Man to have that type of personality, but it fit him.
Well, speaking of Deadpool, he fucking was
Deadpool,
great for that role.
We're not even going to talk about Deadpool because first off, that's the number one movie. I don't care what anyone says. Number one superhero movie. Hey, numbers don't lie. Look at the box office. Numbers don't lie.
It's a badass movie.
That movie sold out everyone.
I think it just like it pushed past like what a regular superhero movie is supposed to be because he was so raunchy and filthy.
Let's be honest, man. We grew up. The original viewers grew up, so you have to appease us too, man.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't just stick down just for the kids.
Watered down ass shit.
And honestly, that's what I liked about Civil War. Is that you can tell that it was going. It took a dark path.
It's going in a different direction.
It definitely took a dark path, but it didn't go that far. Let's go on to Spider-Man.
I know you've been waiting for that momentous fucking occasion. As soon as Tony Stark said he was going to see this kid, we knew who it was.
Oh, I knew who it was right off the bat.
But we did not know.
And the minute the screen popped up with Queens, I was the one in the theater that says, "Here we go, baby."
Yeah.
Because they know. I knew. They might not have known. And if they did know, which some of them did, because some people laughed in the theater when they heard me yell that. But it's the truth. We knew it was Spider-Man.
But we did not know he was going to be this motherfucking charismatic, though.
Let me tell you
We didn't know he was going to be holding up with Tony Stark in the charisma department. He's a bad little motherfucker, though.
I like this Spider-Man a lot.
He's like what Spider-Man should be. He's a funny dude.
I like the actor. I like his personality. I like where they're going with it.
I think when he had those little battle moments, it really reminded me of the cartoon.
I don't want to go into the battle moments just yet. Let me lead to that because that let me lead.
As far as Spider-Man goes,
I'm going with Spider-Man. I'm talking about. Yeah. I gotta lead to that part because that's what stood out for me as Spider-Man. But first, let me tell you, with Spider-Man, I like the young. With them going with a young one, making Aunt May young, I like that because now we can watch him grow. The problem you have with movies is that you get these actors that like I give you a perfect example. Look at Harry Potter. Harry Potter had 7 movies. By the 5th movie, they already looked like they were too old for the school. They already looked like they were adults, teenagers. I mean, past teenagers.
That's a hell of a lot of movies though to go through.
It is. But you have to
spend your whole damn childhood.
But you have to understand that this Marvel has the potential to push out multiple Civil Wars. They had to because they could lead this story going on. If you read up with the comics is long. So they have the potential to do multiple movies, which they should, and they have the potential now to put Spider-Man in multiple cameos. It's just amazing how overpowering they made him, his character. I felt that it was great. Like I loved how he was able to just take on everybody with ease.